So, you want to do Nanowrimo, huh? But you're not sure if you've got the chops to get it done. Have you got the determination, a winning game plan, nimble fingers, a dedicated writing nook, a team of supporters to cheer you on, and the perseverance to continue when things get hard? Well, either way, here are my top 6 tips on how to succeed at writing a novel for the first time during Nanowrimo.
November is just a month.
Bottom line, November is just a month like any other. 30 days to kickstart your writing and knock out a 50,000 word draft. But what if you don't make it to 50,000 words? What if life gets in the way and you only get halfway through your goal by the end of November? Well, so what? The point of this challenge is to get you writing. 30 days, averaging a little over 1,600 words a day, is a great challenge to try and stretch yourself. But it's not the only opportunity to write a novel. So as you sit down to smash out your novel, give it your absolute best. But know that whatever you achieve, you'll be able to keep that momentum going after November and hopefully build a realistic and productive writing rhythm for the long term. November is just a month like any other, so don't put too much pressure on yourself. Have fun, challenge yourself, and enjoy the process.
Progress, not perfection.
Here's the thing, you're not going to write a masterpiece in 30 days. You're most likely going to write a very, very rough draft which will need a lot of attention before it's anywhere close to a finished novel. And that's exactly how it should be. The job of a first draft is not to be perfect, it's to be done. There'll be a bunch of time throughout the month where you'll be tempted to agonize over the intricacies of your writing, and you'll feel pressure to make that writing as good as it can possibly be. But writing your first draft isn't really the time for that. Just get in there and get it done. And don't get paralyzed by getting caught up in a pursuit for perfection. The goal here is efficiency. 1,600 words a day for 30 days. Some days you'll write less, some days you'll write a lot more. But the goal here is progress, not perfection.
Skip ahead and keep writing.
When you're at the drafting stage, a way to keep productive as a writer is to stay moving. If you get stuck on a section of the story, skip ahead and move on. Can't think of the right way to phrase a scene description? Skip ahead and move on. Can't decide exactly what dialogue your main character should say in a given circumstance? Skip ahead and move on. There'll be plenty of opportunity to come back later and fill out the details of your story, but the primary goal with your first draft is to push ahead until it gets done. Don't get stuck on the detail. Don't agonize over spelling and grammar, intricate plot details, or world building. If you get stuck, skip ahead and keep writing.
Writing scene by scene.
Writing a novel isn't something that you do in one sitting. You do it scene by scene. Sometimes it can feel overwhelming, particularly if this is your first novel. So it's important to remember that your outline will take care of the larger movement of your story, the key plot points that drive towards your climax, and so on. If you've got a solid outline, then that will free you up to focus your attention on each new scene as you sit down to write each day. But before you start writing a new scene, think about where you want your characters to move as the scene progresses, what you want readers to feel, what key information you want to reveal as the story progresses. When you finish writing for the day, spend a few moments thinking about the next scene that you're going to write the following day. It's a great time to think about character motivation, secrets that you want to reveal to readers, and the overall tone of your book so far.
Follow your characters.
You might have a very detailed picture in your head of what your main characters look like, but when you start writing, some of those details seem to change. As your characters begin to develop a life of their own, it's important to follow them where they lead. Let them instruct you on how they would act in a certain circumstance. Follow your characters where they want to lead, rather than forcing them to adhere to what you thought they would be before you started writing. As your characters develop, you'll find that you might need to change certain plot details, the way they speak or act in certain circumstances, their responses to other characters, and that's great because that means that your characters are actually coming to life. They're speaking with their own voice, and your job as a writer is just to listen.
Don't force creativity.
As you start writing each day, you'll undoubtedly reach certain points in your novel where you get stuck. You can't think of the right way out of a plot dilemma, or you just don't have the motivation or mental energy to push through with the next scene. It's important at these moments that you don't try and force new ideas. To stay productive and motivated, it might be better to skip those sections you're struggling with and move on to areas of the book that are easier to write for you. If you love writing dialogue, then skip ahead to sections where you can focus on conversations. If you're great at writing action sequences, then move ahead to those. Eventually, you'll have to come back and fill in those areas where you've lacked the creative drive to push through, but there'll be plenty of time for that once you start editing. For now, the key is to keep your momentum going, and focusing on areas you'll find easier to write is a great way to do that. Also, sometimes the best thing that you can do is step back from the writing for a while and go for a walk. Let your mind unfurl and just daydream for a while. Give your brain space and time so that it can work through the possibilities of your story and help dig you out of your current hole. Don't get caught up in the 1600 words a day trap. Remember that some days you'll write more and some days you'll write less, and that's all okay. Even during a month like Nanowrimo, you can still take time to re-energize, let your mind wander, and allow the space and time for new ideas to blossom. If you try to force the ideas, you'll likely make yourself miserable, and the writing probably won't be that great anyway. So don't forget to take a break where you need it. So there you go, that's my 6 tips on how to succeed at writing your first novel. But there are many more, so why not subscribe to the channel and you can get all the motivation and goodness that you can handle.